In the headlines, Nigerians groan over fuel pump price hike across the country. Nigerian troops rescue 40 abducted in Zamfara state. And troops seize over 1,000 cows, sheep grazing in Mangu farmlands. And on the foreign scene, Kenya closes schools over tax hike protests across the country. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Now, following the announcement by the NNPCL increasing the fuel pump price to 619 naira per litre, some filling stations in Kaduna are selling the product at 620 naira per litre. Trust TV's Bello Musa, who went round the metropolis in Kaduna, reports that residents are expressing their dissatisfaction with the sudden increase in light of Nigeria's current economic situation. His report.
For many residents of Kaduna, the news of the recent increase in the pump price of petrol came as a rude shock, as they were already battling to cope with the earlier increase.
I just hear rumors that they are going to increase. Then I just want to join crew to have a fuel before the increase.
Very disheartening. Very, very disheartening. Because I can't imagine a country like Nigeria that we have this fuel in abundance. We have the crew, we have the capacity, we have the manpower. But look at what the government are now doing to us. It's not good. I'm not happy.
540 or 545. And presently now I heard that the price have skyrocketed to almost 600 plus. So I'm just surprised. So, and I believe this thing will affect many sectors in Nigeria.
Ali Muhammad is a long-distance taxi driver. He said they are running the business without profit as passengers' patronage has dropped. Although overloading of passengers is dangerous, but according to Aliyu, that is the only option for them if they have to stay in business, especially with another increase in petrol price and the continuous complaints by passengers of increased fares. Passengers' patronage is low, and even when they come, they will beg us to reduce the fare for them. Now the fuel is sold above 600 naira. We don't know what will happen next. As we can see, I have to overload in order to maximize profits. While kicking against the proposed 8,000 naira subsidy palliatives to Nigerians by the federal government, the motorists urged the federal government to provide lasting solution to the issue of PMS price, since Nigeria is an oil-producing state.
If this thing persists, it will be a problem that will be on the nation, because presently now we are hearing rumor from NEPA that they want to increase their even tariff, and now fuel again is another thing. It's something else. I don't know what the government need to do, because even the presently this subsidy money that they want to give, the 80,000 naira, that 8,000 naira cannot do anything for somebody like me or even people in the street. How much?
That 500 billion palliatives should be channeled to something better. One, get our refineries working. Build another refineries. I think if such thing will be done, I think we might find ourselves in a better position.
This motor is not my own. It's an office motor. Where I'm living for Angwarumi. From there to where I'm working Murtala Square here, 350. Sometimes 400. Going back, 400. That's 800 a day. And they are paying me 30,000. What is the remaining again?
We are pleading with our president that instead of the proposed palliatives, he should bring back the subsidy so that we can survive the present hardship. The impact of the recent increase is so glaring in Kaduna metropolis that only a handful of vehicles are seen on the busy Ali Akilu Road. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Now in Katsina, residents are groaning over the new pump price as inflation continues to bite hard across the state. The commodity, which was previously sold at 540 naira per litre, now sells at 620 naira per litre. From Katsina, Abdullahi Ahmadi reports.
Few minutes after the filling stations learned that the NNPC increased pump price, they quickly adjusted their meters, leaving motorists wondering where the increase is coming from. A lot of people, especially motorists, doubted the increase, believing that it may not stand, considering the hardship residents are going through with hiked food price, transport fares, and almost all basic necessities.
It's very bad. They don't have patience for the masses. They don't have patience for the masses, because if they have patience for the masses, they cannot increase it. Everything is harsh in this country.
As you all know, everybody is crying in the country. The inflation is high, hyperinflation, not even galloping, whereby it go up and down. People are suffering. This is an old stock. The government should do something about it. The masses are suffering.
This situation we are in Nigeria is very terrible. So if person can have the means to buy a fuel at the rate of 540 naira before, now it increased this morning to 620. So what can a poor man can do? This is the question.
At some motor parks in Katsina, passengers and drivers described the fuel increase as sad development, saying the Tinubu-led federal government has taken a wrong path to economic recovery.
You want to travel to Kaduna now, the transport will not be the same as we used to enter before. So that is what will affect us a lot. And food again, people that are importing food from another state to another state, you see, all those things will increase. Seriously, is affecting us.
And you can see everything is very high. And now it is 620. So how we can do? Please, please and please, we beg for the government to bring that subsidy. We want it, please and please.
The Asian city looks empty as few vehicles were seen on the roads, with many residents trekking to their destinations. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Well, as Nigerians continue to react to the new pump price of PMS, commuters in Lagos are lamenting the increase in transport fares across the state. In Lagos, some filling stations have shut down operations, with few operational stations that are witnessing long queues as customers rush to get the product. Here's the report.
According to residents of Nigeria's commercial hub, the recent increase in the price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, has further plunged them into untold hardship, which started with the increase that followed Mr. President's announcement on Inauguration Day. This increase, they said, has led to a further hike in transportation as fares have soared to incredible heights. Some commuters attest to this.
The price of fuel now is not being funny. Why? Because from here to Jaba, now enter, instead of 300 or 200, you enter before. Now it's at increase to 600. For we that is working, it's not being funny for us. Imagine you collecting salary, and that salary is not even enough for you to enter the transport.
Spending a lot on transportation. From my house now, Iwaya to Onyibo. Before it was 150, 200, but now it's now 300. Yaba to from Iwaya to Yaba, it was 150. Now when the increase, now we are hearing the fuel price again. Now it's probably 400 or something. So it's really stressing people a lot.
That's been a very serious problem it has trickling down to increase in commodities, increase in price in the market, increase in price of commodities in the market, and also, of course, increase in transport fare. So right now we can experience even double the normal price, due to this menace. I call it a menace because it has been a very serious problem for the common man, for the masses.
Some of the commercial bus operators, while justifying the increase in fares, said it was based on the price of fuel. Commuters appealed to the federal government to effect a reduction in the price of fuel, especially in Lagos, to enable the average Nigerian move about freely.
Still staying with that development, Nigerians were early on Tuesday shocked by an upward review of the price of PMS as filling stations across the country began to sell the product at a new price tag. In Abuja, the price of the product shot up from 540 naira to 617 naira per litre. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation Limited, Mele Kyari, and Farouk Ahmed, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, both visited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the prices were going up across the country. Now, both men attributed the rising costs in the product to market forces. Here's our correspondent, Kehinde Amodu, with the rest of the story.
Without a warning, motorists are shocked on Tuesday morning with an 80 naira fuel price hike. This is huge, considering that not too long ago fuel prices were 65 naira per litre. Now the prices are more than 3 times what they were on May 29, when petrol was 195 naira per litre. Nigerians have not adjusted to the dislocations brought about by the first adjustment. Yet the glib explanations of the regulating authorities are that the prices are now being determined by market forces.
I don't have the details this moment. We have marketing wing of our company. They adjust prices depending on the market realities. And this is really what it's about. This is the meaning of making sure that the market regulates itself so that prices will go up and sometimes they will come down also. And this is really what we are seeing. In reality, this is how the market works.
What is clear is that the prices are not being affected by supply issues or by the fact that the NNPCL is no more the sole importer of petrol, while the price of crude oil in the global market has gone up.
What I know is that the market forces will regulate the market. Prices will go down sometimes it will go up, but there will be stability of supply. And I'm also assuring Nigerians that this is the best way to go forward so that we can adjust prices when market goes. I don't have the details this moment, but I know that our marketing wing acts just like every other company in this business. I know that a number of companies have imported petroleum products today, PMS.
So are there any assurances to Nigerians that the situation will improve? Apparently not, as the regulators insist that market forces must continue to determine prices of fuel.
But the pricing, as a regulator, we are not going to put a cap on the price because we are not part of those importing. We are not a marketing company, we are just a regulator. So when you say market forces are working, basically what it is that you can see the price of crude going up. A couple of weeks or so ago, the price of crude was hovering around $70 per barrel. Now it's hovering about $80 per barrel. So of course, the crude price also drives the product price. Because the importers are importing, they are basing it on the cost of importation plus the freight, plus other cost elements in terms of local distribution.
The latest price adjustment will send shockwaves through the country and will drive living costs further up among average Nigerians. With palliatives still being promised and the reality that these remedial measures will only apply to about 6% of the population, many are starting to wonder if government has really thought this through. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Now, away from developments concerning the hike in the price of PMS, troops of Operation Hadarin Daji have rescued 40 hostages at Keuru, Kwaram and Alkama villages in Bukuyum local government area of Zamfara state. The feat was recorded on July 17th following an intelligence report that suspected terrorists had kidnapped unspecified number of persons from villages around Bukuyum local government area of Zamfara state. The troops immediately mobilized for fighting patrol and established blocking positions around the terrorist camp, and Alkama villages are also in the Bukuyum local government area of Zamfara state. The rescued kidnapped victims, numbering about 40, have since been reunited with their families. Elsewhere, troops of Operation Safe Haven maintaining peace in Mangu local government area of Plateau State have seized well over 1,000 cattle and sheep grazing on farmlands across the local government area. In a statement signed by the Media and Information Officer of the operation, Captain Oya James, the cattle were arrested or seized in Dumonang village of Boy district of Mangu local government area in the ongoing efforts to address the security challenges confronting the area in recent times. More than 200 people were confirmed killed in the crisis between Mwagavul and Fulani communities in the last 3 months. Security personnel have vowed to restore peace in the area. The military spokesperson and preliminary investigation revealed that the cattle and sheep came from Bokos and Barikin Ladi in different parts of the state, and they were being detained for further action. The General Officer commanding GOC 3 Division of the Nigerian Army and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abubakar Abdusalam, had promised to tackle the root causes of the crisis and block anything that could lead to renewed attacks in Mangu general area. In other news, Nigeria's President and Chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, says leaders in the region have agreed to institute a properly funded strategy to tackle terrorism. President Tinubu spoke on Tuesday after a closed-door meeting with presidents of the Republic of Benin, Patrice Talon, Guinea-Bissau, Umar Sissoko Embalo, and President of Niger Republic, Mohamed Bazoum, at the presidential villa in Abuja. From the State House, here's Kende Amodu with the rest of the story.
Ever since he assumed the role of chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Tinubu has made very strong statements about security in the West African sub-region. 3 presidents are meeting President Tinubu to adopt strategies to tackle security with more measurable results. President Tinubu believes ECOWAS leaders are capable of raising necessary funds to combat terrorism in the sub-region.
We have no problem raising funds, and we have all the instrumentalities to do that. So, concerning our design and engineering of our own finances, we believe we are capable of raising necessary funds to combat terrorism and insecurity in the region.
The Nigerian president has also spoken strongly about the need to maintain democratic standards in West Africa by resisting unconstitutional change of government. The West African leaders have at this meeting agreed to fast-track the transition to democracy in Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso. ECOWAS has taken on the responsibility to ensure that the transition in the 3 countries will be robust, credible and inclusive.
The security response shall also include support to individual member states of the region. The response shall also include the use of specific arrangements, such as specific models of peace and security. Adequate resources will be provided to the region's response to peace and security.
The sub-regional body has also agreed to respond robustly to terrorism and insurgency by adequately funding and adopting specific models of peace and security. This regional response is expected to include the operationalization of the ECOWAS plan of action with the region's own troops and the region's own financing model. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Still to come, we take a look at why farmers are praying for divine intervention ahead of this year's farming season. We'll have more details after the break. Join us again. Welcome back to the news update on Trust TV. Thank you very much for staying with us. Here's a quick recap of our top stories at this hour. Nigerians continue to groan over fuel pump price hike across the country. And troops rescue over 40 kidnapped victims in Zamfara State. Now, the suspended CBN governor and the case before the court has been assigned to Justice Nicholas Owebo, who is one of 2 vacation judges for the court. The other is Justice Akintayo Aluko. MFL's application for bail was premised on 9 grounds. The suspended CBN governor also said that granting him bail will afford him adequate time and facilities to prepare his defense against the DSS. Referring to his reputation and past credible record, as well as his status as being a former CBN governor, the defendant says he is not a flight risk and would not jump bail if granted by the court. A total of 10 lawyers, including 5 senior advocates, have been listed to defend the suspended CBN governor. They will be led Right, let's take you to other developing stories now. Farmers in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, are seeking for divine intervention over shortage of rainfall in Borno, the state capital. The British Kursi reports that it has been 3 weeks without rainfall in the city, and this is generating concern among farmers of a possible drought in the state. His report.
The weather here is not friendly. It is mid-July, but under the scorching sun, one may wrongly assume that it is dry season in Maiduguri. It has been 3 weeks since rainfall was recorded last in the metropolis, making the hot environment even worse for residents. The shortage of rainfall is taking toll on farms as crops could be seen withering. A farmer, Malam Bukar, said he hardly comes to the farm, but because it rained in some remote parts of town the previous day, he decided to come in anticipation of possible rain. Didn't come to my farm because there was no sign of rain. As you can see, the maize I planted are becoming dry. We pray that God forgive us our sins and send down the rain for our crops to grow. Because if we lost this season harvest, prices of food will be more costlier than now. 3 weeks now, the rain didn't fall. It only fell in some areas I had. But here we are still hoping that it will fall. I'm optimistic that we will record a bumper harvest. I'm confident that it will be more than last year. The Shehu of Borno on Monday summoned the Muslim community to offer special prayers for rainfall at the Ramat Square in Maiduguri. For now, farmers remain prayerful and hopeful that the rains will come and the farmlands will be wet again. Petrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Let's turn our attention now to developments on the international scene. Kenya's government has closed schools in the capital and 2 other areas as East Africa's economic powerhouse on Wednesday braces for 3 days of demonstrations against the government's handling of rising cost of living and tax hikes. 2 rounds of protests earlier this month descended into violence when police fired tear gas and in some cases live round ammunitions at crowds. At least 15 people have so far been killed and hundreds of others arrested. According to local media reports, 3 school children were rushed to hospital in Kangemi on the outskirts of Nairobi, the city capital, after police used tear gas on their school premises while dispersing protesters. Kenya's opposition called for the protests in parts because of tax hikes passed last month by the government of President William Ruto, who was elected last August, pledging to champion the interests of the poor, but has seen the price of basic commodities balloon under his administration. The government says the fuel and housing levies, which are expected to raise an extra 200 billion shillings, which is approximately $1.4 billion a year, are needed to help deal with the growing debt repayments of Kenya and to fund job creation initiatives. President Ruto, who says he will not allow the protest to happen, inherited an enormous government debt. When his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta took office in 2013, it stood at 1.7 trillion shillings, which is roughly $13 billion. By the time Kenyatta left office, it had ballooned to 8.7 trillion shillings, which is an equivalent of $61 billion US. Well, that's the package on the news update at this hour. Thank you most kindly for your time. Feel free to follow us across our social media platforms for more content. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time.